Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update. And this time we have some more audiobook preview to go over, this time from Apple Books. But I'll cover the other piece of news first because it's pretty quick. It's just that Displate have put up 5 more official Avatar Displates. They're pretty to the point, but they are nice because I think, the element symbols are always cool for Avatar. So you can see here, it is one poster that has all 4 symbols in one. Or you can choose your favorite element and get one of them on a individual displate that way. Again, I think displates are nice, but I would always recommend don't buy these unless you're getting at least 33% off. I think there's currently 25% sale off, which is okay. But if you could find a code somewhere to get a little bit more, that's how I think you get it more into the range of being in any way kind of value. But yeah, it's always interesting to follow this stuff. Obviously, we do get new art occasionally from these. Not really this time, though kind of some slightly fancy element symbols is nice to see. But anyway, let's get back to the Roku audio preview. So, the one I covered yesterday is from the publisher, Blackstone. Here, obviously, is the Apple Books audio preview. This one is 5 minutes long. The one yesterday was 2 minutes 40 seconds long. But they're from the same section of the book, in that the preview from yesterday is the end of this clip. So the new stuff that we have here is basically the 2 and a bit minutes just before the stuff from yesterday. So we'll go over that shortly. I checked it. I think it's missing maybe 5 seconds from the end of the previous clip. So there's some slight kind of weirdness there, but it's the same general section. So let's go through this here. Obviously the new stuff, like I said, is at the start. And then you can see at around the kind of 2:25 section, this is where pretty much the cutoff happens, and we go from the new stuff into the stuff from yesterday. But yeah, let's get to the start here, and again, I'll pause it as we go through.
Holding court. His sister, Princess Zaysan, stood at the edge of the turtle duck pond, deep in conversation with her science tutor, a slender, brown-skinned Ember Island native whose rope dart was rumored to be as sharp as her mind.
Okay, so there we go. There is the Princess Zaysan reference that we were looking for. We don't get any real details on Zaysan here. It's more just Sozan's walking to kind of basically, meet up with Roku, go up onto the roof and kind of talk during the fireworks that are going on from the clip yesterday. And he just sees his sister, obviously, over there. So the hope will be in the book we do get a little bit more on Zaysan, Sozan's opinion on her, and we get more of that, just the family dynamic basically. But nice to get the reference here, the previously RPG exclusive character, of course being referenced where it makes a lot of sense in this book. So that's good to know.
Sozan swiped a cup of blazing plum wine from a passing server's tray, took a swig, and stifled a cough as it burned his throat on the way down. He abandoned the remainder of the drink atop the head of a lion turtle statue, then headed in the opposite direction of his family. He wandered through the sculpture garden and then the hedge maze, before finally spotting Roku under the ancient mountain ginkgo tree that stood in the middle of the eastern courtyard.
Okay, so this is just, highlighting Sozan, again, moving away from his family to talk to Roku, and we'll obviously get the flashback little section that we got in the clip from yesterday. But yeah, we're going to get to see, I suppose, this is the situation that Sozan kind of has saved Roku from that we knew about from yesterday.
The head of a minor clan had cornered the new avatar and was trying to introduce him to his daughter, an annoyed-looking girl who couldn't have been more than 11 or 12. Roku, who had not yet learned to mask his true emotions, clearly didn't want to be there either, but he was too polite and too passive to extricate himself. Sozan would have to save him. Excuse me, Sozin interrupted. I must steal Avatar Roku for a moment. Fire Lord Taiso requires his attention.
Okay, so there we go. You get the idea of, like, interesting, a mention of, like, a head of a clan. We know the clans are not super kind of powerful during this era, but obviously the idea is that they're still around. So I'm wondering, like, will we get too much references to individual clans and what is exactly going on here? But we basically know by around this time the clans aren't really too much of an issue for, like, a Fire Lord. The Fire Lord is, like, basically the main leader of the Fire Nation with no real kind of dispute. And Sozin, just when he takes over, just further kind of solidifies that point. That's sort of the way that this tends to go. And of course, we got the idea, this was referenced in the clip from yesterday, the idea of, yeah, a lot of people kind of high up in the Fire Nation trying to kind of pair up their daughters with Roku, since he is now the Avatar. Well, we know, of course, that Roku likes Ta Min, and so we're hoping to get some Ta Min stuff in this book, and we'll see what happens.
Of course, my prince, the man said, bowing deeply as relief washed over his daughter's face. It was a pleasure to meet you both, Roku said, then followed Sozin away. Any idea what your father wants? Sozin sighed. His friend had always been too trusting. It was a fault Sozin had always found endearing, but now feared could put Roku in danger someday, given his newly elevated status.
Obviously, in reflection, given we know that the end of the story for these characters, there is a deep irony to Sozin being concerned about Roku being too trusting, given effectively how Roku dies, obviously. So, interesting stuff there. But, in a way, it's kind of highlighting, to a certain degree, is this going to be the book where we maybe see Sozin really become, or start to become, the character who goes on to be like the villain of villains within the Avatar franchise? Because from the presentation that we've got, admittedly it's only been a few minutes from the kind of previews here, the Sozin, and we got this impression from like 306 as well, younger Sozin doesn't seem like too bad, so we have to see how he acts kind of going forward, obviously.
Oh, Roku said, coming to a slow realization. The Fire Lord doesn't want to see me. Sozin rolled his eyes. The fireworks are about to start. He led Roku away from the festivities, past the royal guards, and into the blissfully empty palace. Their footsteps echoed through the halls as they made their way to the top level of the southern tower. They climbed out onto the roof as the first fireworks began to burst over the caldera. As they watched the explosions of color without speaking, Sozin's mind turned to his father's private reaction after the fire sages announced Roku was the Avatar.
And it's somewhere in the seconds in or around here, which is where the clip from yesterday actually starts. Because like this is going to be what Taizo's talking, isn't it?
I'm disappointed it's not you. But
yeah. So there we go. Just some slight extra context, primarily from that clip. Doesn't really tell you kind of too much more. Just like I said, just adds on to the clip from yesterday, given that we know what happens before. With, I think, the main thing just being like right at the start here.
His sister, Princess Zaysan, stood at the edge of the turtle duck pond, deep in conversation with her science tutor.
So that's interesting. The science tutor reference as like being somewhat skilled at like combat with a rope dart, I guess. That's interesting. But she is here, so like they're not doing some like really early setup for like Zaysan and the kind of air nomads, though. It'll be interesting to see maybe if they approach doing some of the Zaysan story setup at this point or not. We also, I think because this is like, this is a flashback before the present day events of the book take place, you do wonder, like, are we getting more Sozin point of view chapters? I think we are. Because this comes across as like, is this the prologue? Because it feels like what we're doing here in this kind of potential prologue is, this is the intro to the book, highlighting, you know, the effect on Roku and Sozin of Roku being announced as the Avatar. And then I guess we're going to maybe go through basically the scene we see from 306, which is the handing over of the Crown Prince artifact that Roku wears, obviously. And that's the big point of which, like, they basically say goodbye to each other. Roku starts his journey, and then we kind of time skip to, this is actually the present day events of the story. Because I do feel that's what we're doing here. If Sozin is going to be the one to kind of contact Roku to get involved in this Earth Kingdom Fire Nation dispute over an island, I'm guessing it's maybe Sozin, like, acting on his own, potentially. But it's hard to really say what exactly they're going to do. But it does feel like probably the best choice they could make here is to make that decision to, okay, yes, we're going to focus on Roku and what's going on with him. But just as interesting is what Sozin is doing back in the Fire Nation, because I don't think the idea here is that Sozin is on the mission with Roku and Gyatso. So it is him probably navigating Fire Nation politics stuff, you know, staying in the Fire Nation while this dispute goes on. And then I guess Ta-Min gets involved somehow. Like I said, maybe her family is the one directly dealing with, you know, the Earth Kingdom from the Fire Nation side of things, and that's why she gets, like, captured in some way and Roku needs to help her. But we have to wait and see. So who knows what more previews we're going to get for the book. Like I said yesterday, there probably is going to be a, like, text preview on Amazon, like basically a preview of the ebook at some point. Those tend to go up a little bit closer to release, but, you know, it's something to be on an eye out for, and that will probably actually give us maybe a little bit more substantial preview than we're maybe used to. But we are quickly approaching, you know, the release of the book. We're, you know, around 4 weeks to go at this point, getting closer to it being more like 3 weeks, so that's exciting. And I think beyond that, we're just kind of waiting for sort of probably release week, some sort of an interview with the author, maybe confirming there will be a Roku second book. But also keep in mind, we are going to be finding out about what's going on at San Diego Comic-Con for Avatar in the next week or two. Once the San Diego Comic-Con schedule goes up, we'll know if we're getting a Braving the Elements panel, if we're going to get a publishing panel, that sort of thing. So, yeah, in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on some new Avatar Displates and this extra kind of 2 and a bit minutes of audio preview. What are your expectations? How much Sozin do you think we're going to get in the book? That's probably the big question from this audio preview that we need to ask. And do you think we will get more Princess Zaysan as well? But yes, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.